Hey, this is Notser, and this is Untitled. This week I want to talk about the Alabama. Many of you have watched the videos, seen the commentaries. What do I honestly think about it at the end of the day? What does it mean for the future of the U.S. Battleship line and anything else? It's interesting, I think, and we'll talk about it. There is also sort of a topic that is not nailed down, stealth firing. I made a video talking about the potential that was being tested in stealth firing. What does it actually mean for the game? And I always want to talk more about it. There have been suggestions about what they could do to make sure that stealth firing exists, but the changes aren't too abrupt that the destroyers are just completely worthless, right? And I'd like to talk about that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to talk about that. Finally, I would like to touch on streaming and YouTube. I've been busy. Recently, I added a second video every day because you know what? I don't have a life. I love making videos. It's been extremely successful. I can't complain. The French cruisers, the Italian stuff, any new premium stuff. I really appreciate everyone watching, so I just want to talk about it. Okay? So, the Alabama. Now, the Alabama is a premium Tier 8 American battleship. Many community contributors have shown it off. Yes, you will be able to buy it. Yes, the one that you will be able to buy has the Measure 22 camo. It's sort of a, what is that, light blue, navy blue line. It has the hull number 60 on it. Pretty much everything you would expect for the Alabama. And I don't understand what people want from the game. Some people, oh, complete crap. Oh, yes, it's great. For me, it merely represents sort of a North Carolina that's premium. And that's pretty cool in its own right, right? It's not a completely destroyed, neutered version. It's got its strengths, its maneuverability, torpedo protection. It basically has the same AA protection as the North Carolina, the same guns, the same accuracy. The North Carolina has a more protected citadel, but you know what? It's sluggish compared to the Alabama. Many of my games I've actually been given a chance to use the maneuverability or the torpedo bulge, and I have really appreciated 50% reduction in torpedo damage. Plus, it looks cool. Measure 22 does look very cool. This is a camo that used to be on every single American ship in, I think it was a closed beta? Was it open beta? Either way, it was on every ship. I would love for them to put it on every ship. I would pay money just for it. I just think it looks so clean. So classy. And yeah, I appreciate it for that. I like that the Missouri has two camos. One is the Measure 22, and the other one is, of course, some Iowa camo, because that's what the Iowa has, whatever. But the Alabama, I've enjoyed it. Would I make a purchase if I owned the Missouri already? Well, probably not, because I know things are very expensive. There's going to be ships in the near future that are probably going to be exotic in some form. I don't know, maybe French cruisers, maybe Italian cruisers, maybe even a German destroyer that isn't completely crap. Who knows, right? We've got plenty of premium U.S. battleships, but some people, that's the most fun they can have, and that's what they want. And guess what? That's what a premium is. You don't have to buy it. I enjoy my time with it. But I already have a really nice premium in the Missouri. If I didn't have the Missouri and I didn't have a means to get the Missouri, maybe I've gone and seen the Alabama for myself in Mobile. I would probably pick it up. And that's okay. It's great. Now, it is a South Dakota class battleship, and that does mean that they're probably going to be an alternative battleship line for the Americans at some point. That's pretty exciting. Maybe this year, maybe the beginning of next year. They've got so many potential battleships that could fit in there. The Americans just built a ton. Built an absolute ton. Historically, the South Dakota is supposed to have better armor than the North Carolina. That's what it was supposed to have. But they didn't give quite as much armor as it had in real life on the Alabama, and probably because they didn't want to make it just completely better than the North Carolina. And I understand that. The gun range is shorter. They didn't want any excuse for you saying, this premium is objectively better. Every regard. Why would I get it? Why would I get anything other than this premium, right? They didn't want that. I don't want that. Nobody should want that. We already have plenty of that. They need to bring up the non-premiums and make them more relevant. Some of the premiums are a little bit too effective. I'm trying to think of a premium that I think is really effective. The Molotov at Tier 6. That feels like it's a better premium than the Tier 6 and the Soviet branch. And that's more because of the gun systems it's put on it, right? So let's avoid making premiums objectively better. Let's make it subjective. Oh, I really don't appreciate having better citadel protection. I would prefer to maneuver better. Whatever, right? Now, let's talk about stealth fire. Stealth fire is a mechanic in the game right now. And why is it in the game? Well, it's in the game partially because it was a way to improve the concealment of the ship and have it noticeable and have it scale up correctly. Way back when, let's say when the game came out, Wargaming had a vision of concealment values for the ship. You would have to pass that threshold in order to see the ship. They use things like weapon bloom whenever you fire it to discourage you from firing in line of sight. So maybe you go behind an island or in smoke or whatever. One particular mechanic that was sort of a holdover from having a base concealment and then a modified concealment when firing your gun is this sort of stealth firing mechanic. It's a part of the dead zone where you can hit the target, but they can't see you in line of sight. There's nothing blocking it. It's kind of awkward if you really think about it, but you could say, well, the horizon. Maybe there's a haze or something, right? There's so many weird quirks with Wargaming and the games I have. The draw distance, all that stuff. That's not something that's normal to me. For me, if a person is on the map, they are drawn no matter what. That's not how it works in Wargaming. There's distance that limits the ability to draw that ship. And this is sort of a way to explain all of this. But it seems that Wargaming wants to get rid of stealth firing. They want every single time you fire your gun out in the open, any target that you can hit can see you. Is this all right? Why are they doing this right now? Well, I have a theory, and I didn't really think of this theory when I made the video. I think they want to do this because they feel like the reason the Japanese destroyers are so bad is because of their gun range. You shouldn't rely on torpedoes. You shouldn't see torpedoes as the only solution to your problems. That's how you design them. That was the first design that you gave out. Torpedoes, 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 torpedoes. And you've nerfed the detectability of those torpedoes to such a degree that vigilance, hydroacoustic, target acquisition, all these put together, you can see them a mile away, 4 or 5 kilometers away. Ridiculous amount of distance. It feels really worthless to send torpedoes on some Japanese. So they figured, let's buff the guns. But we're still going to have the same velocity. So the velocity is somewhere close to Soviet, honestly. The rate of fire, not quite there, but the range is really low. Even with advanced firing training, all these things, the turrets, they traverse very slowly. They can't extend the range too far. Otherwise, the stealth fire is extreme, like 4 to 5 kilometers. Anyone can stay 4 to 5 kilometers away from a target. There is no skill in trying to feather that distance from the target. Is this the right thing to do to fix the Japanese destroyers' lack of competitive viability? I mean, who would really pull a Japanese over a Soviet or an American? Americans basically do the torpedo better. I played a gearing game. I got tons of hits. I could use torpedo acceleration. I didn't feel like I was sacrificing too much, and my guns were great. I really think they need to try and revisit the possibility that the torpedoes were not the problem when they nerfed them into the ground. Maybe players were just not skilled enough in order to counter torpedoes, and now they are so skilled that it is almost laughable how few torpedoes hit the target. There's so many things. Vigilance, hydroacoustic, aircraft, you've got it all. I don't understand why we sort of baby people around torpedoes. They're not completely ridiculous. There is different ways to detect it. Plus, you can have a screen in a destroyer or a cruiser to help the battleships out. Why do we need to protect battleships? They already have the best guns in the game. They already average the highest DPS per game. They already have the most tankability in the game. And yet they seem to always get stuff for them. They got secondaries out of a better secondary build out of the commander changes. They got fire prevention. That's really only for them. The torpedo changes have been really crappy for a lot of the destroyers. Cruisers die in half a second to battleships because they're just so accurate and people are so good. Maybe they should be afraid of torpedoes. Maybe that is the counter. You know, the one you designed all that time ago, 2, 3, 4 years ago. Maybe that's what they have to do. Take out the destroyer so they can sail more freely. It's kind of crazy, right? It's kind of crazy. But we'll see where they go. It's not final at all. Please don't look at it like, oh, well, the game's over. This is what they're putting in. No, it's all testing. They want to see. They want to see what it might do. So be understanding of this fact. Now, streaming and YouTube. I have been giving out 2 videos a day for probably almost 2 weeks at this point. It's taxing, but I think the videos are more focused on the subject. I can make more smaller videos or a video that's just on one thing and it feels like you're not wasting your time. Like the French cruisers. I could make a video just on the French cruisers, but I could also get a video out that had me playing in a destroyer or a cruiser or a battleship. They're great games to share, you're going to enjoy them, but maybe you don't feel like watching a great game. Maybe you just want information, and that's where these other small videos come in. That's partially why I do it on my Untitled. Not everyone wants to hear my thoughts. They just want to see me do damage. I completely understand that. Is it hard? Yes. But it's been extremely successful. I have doubled my viewership because of it. Well, you would expect that, Notser. You would expect that, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So I really appreciate everyone enjoying the content. I'm glad you do. I read the comments, even if I don't get to them. I'm very busy, obviously. But it's really fun. It's been really fun for me. Now, another aspect of this is there's just so many things that sort of get in the way. Like, one weekend I was doing a bunch of real life things, like, oh, who does that, right? Pfft, real life. Tch. But it was fun. It was fun to do that. I had to stack all of the videos up, make them, prepare them, that sort of thing. And even now, I find myself, okay, let's make sure it works out. Oh, this was a good video. Oh, the commentary was hilarious, live commentary. Maybe we could use that. Obviously, if I take a live commentary from the stream, I don't have to commentate it after the fact. Now, some of you like that, some of you don't like it. I'm sort of in the middle. I do it because moments with Poimane are really funny, of course. He is a very good friend, so I really tease him. Some of you are like, oh, you're being too mean on him. Oh, he throws it too, okay? There's no mercy in friendships, okay? You gotta go all in on him. So, yeah. That's sort of why you see certain things. The 12v12 was pretty easy content to layer on top of it. But I'm going to try and make sure I do as good as I can. People have asked about replays. Yes. I just have to find the time. I also am interested in trying to sort of correct play that I see in a replay. If that's interesting to you, just let me know in the comments. Either way, I appreciate all the support. It means the world. I really appreciate reading the comments, seeing you watch it. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time.